Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video we are going to do a holiday look. I uploaded my top holiday palettes video yesterday and you guys really liked the look that I was wearing in that video. It is very holiday-ish. I had planned to do a holiday look as one of my videos for the month of December, so it might as well be something very similar to what I did then. The twist is that in today's video we're going to do a no brand makeup tutorial, a no product makeup tutorial. I'm basically going to tell you what type of makeup to look for in order to kind of follow along, but I'm not going to mention the brand of the product that I'm using so that you can shop within your own makeup collection to create something very similar to what I'm going to be creating today. Now, because I know that a lot of you still want to know what products I use, sometimes I've done these videos in the past and I always get the comments. I will have all of the products listed and linked down below in the description box if you guys are curious to know what I used, but I'm not going to mention them in the video. If you're excited for today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let's go ahead and get holiday glammed together. So first things first, I already filled in my eyebrows. As you can see, I'm a little bit ahead of you, so go ahead and fill in your eyebrows whichever way you prefer. Usually I laminate mine up first and then I just fill them in with a pencil. Sometimes I go in with a pen afterwards and I get them really nice and fluffy. But I feel like eyebrows are very personal. We all have a different way of doing ours, so just go ahead and do your eyebrows first. And I'm going to then use an eyeshadow primer for my eyelids because this is a glam makeup look and I do want this to last for a very long time so that we can party in it, you know? I'm assuming you're going to some holiday party with your holiday look, you know? So I'm going to, with a brush that has a flat side, I'm going to start by putting my eyeshadow primer right underneath my eyebrow. And I'm doing this because my eyeshadow primer is a little bit concealer-like. It has a bit of a coverage to it and the color of it is a bit lighter than my complexion. So it's going to help me define my eyebrow even more. And then with a bigger, fluffier brush, I'm going to just swipe that primer all over the eyelid area. And you can see how much brighter that looks versus this one, and it covered any kind of discoloration I might have on my eyes, anything like that. I'm just repeating all the same steps over on this side. To start the eyeshadow look, I want you to look for a neutral to cool toned shade that you can use as a transition. I'm going for something like these right here. I picked these two from two separate palettes just so that you guys know like somewhat what we're looking for. And if you have a warmer complexion and you don't love cool tones on your eyes, then go for a neutral transition shade instead. I'm going to go for one of the ones I showed you, and with a brush I'm going to tap that shade on the outer half of the crease of my eye, just like this, starting on the outer corner and then tapping it inwards so that it fades in a little bit. And then with the same brush, I'm just going to blend the edges of this shade to diffuse the product upwards a little bit and inwards a little more. I'm using a little bit more of that same shade, just building it up as I see fit and just blending it back and forth with my brush. And I'm of course going to do the exact same thing over on the other side, starting by tapping. I'm then going to look for a darker cool tone shade. It could be something like this one right here. It could be something like this one. Wow, those two look pretty much exactly the same. I promise you I got them from different palettes, but something around that vibe. Or if you don't have anything that looks like that, it could even be a more neutral brown type of a shade like this one right here. That would work as well. We just want something that is going to intensify the outer corner of this look. So with the darker shade of preference, I'm going to start once again by tapping the color, this time right on the outer third of my eyelid here. And then with the tip of my brush, I'm blending it upwards into the first color we placed. my forehead burn is looking so sexy today. I can't wait for all those little scalps to go away. It looks horrible. Okay, so I am packing first, blending second, and this is what we're looking like so far. And I'm doing my eyeshadow before my complexion because since this is a holiday look, we are going to use some fun sparkly shades. And in case any of those fall down underneath my eyes, I want to be able to wipe them away before I put on my foundation, you know? I'm pretty happy with this amount of depth and how nicely that blended. So let's move on to a sparkly gold shade. It could be something that kind of looks like this one here. Maybe not as shiny. We have something like this one. If you go for something like that, that is not as shiny, you might have to build it up a little more. There we go, so that it looks really nice and sparkly. You could also go for something a bit more neutral, more champagne, like this one here. Or you might not want to do gold at all, and you might want to go for something silver instead, which totally would be okay as well. So just pick your sparkle, you know? With my finger, I'm going to grab one of those shades we chose, and I'm going to tap it right in the center of my eyelid. Just tap, tap, tap it. I'm making sure not to go on the crease of the eye, and I am doing it from the center forward. I'm not putting any of that shimmer over the outer third of my eye. I'm going to grab a little bit more and just build it up right here. And let's do the same thing over on the other eye. Just like this. If you have any leftover on your finger, go over the edge of the outer part a little bit, just barely tapping it with whatever's left on your finger so that it mixes better with the matte shades back here, right on the edge. And then with whatever's left on the brush you've been using, you can tap on the outer third once again and over the edge of the shimmer as well. So now look for a lighter shimmer shade in your collection. I'm going to go for this light gold one, but let's say you did silver instead of the gold eyeshadow in the center. You could go for something that has a bit of a blue duochrome to it, or if you want to stay neutral, you can go for a very light champagne color. Maybe you want to do a more traditional inner corner color and just go for something that is very, very light, that looks almost like a face highlighter like this one. So just a lighter shade than the one on the center of the eyelid for sure, and that the undertone matches, you know, like if I were to have done the silver in the center, I would not go for this yellow gold thing right here. I'm only doing it because I went with the gold. Whichever shade you end up choosing, make sure you grab it with a flat brush, and I'm going to tap it on the inner corner of the eye and bring it in through the crease, like halfway. A little bit more. This looks a little cut creasy and I'm not mad. A little bit more right here, and I'm going to blend it down ever so slightly. And same thing over on the other eye, just like this. All right, I'm totally happy with the way the top of my eyes looks, and I barely have any fallout, but you know, we have a few little sparkles right there, so I'm going to clean that up real quick. And I'm also going to define the outer part of my eyeshadow here so that it's a bit sharper. So let's get started with the complexion, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a bit of a color corrector right underneath my eye. I have purpley hues under my eyes that I don't want shown. So the first thing I do is always neutralize them with a color corrector so that they don't come through once I put my concealer on later. So I'm tapping that color corrector right under the eyes, only where I see purple, and then with my finger I'm just going around any edges. And look at the difference that makes already. I love color correcting my under eye area. It is a must-do makeup step for me. I did already moisturize my face before I started filming. And for primer, I want to use something that is going to cover up my pores. I want my complexion to look very nice and smooth when I put the foundation on. So I'm using a pore filling primer. This one happens to also have a bit of coverage to it, but any pore filling primer will do. Or if you're oily and you need a mattifying primer, use that one. Just whatever your favorite primer is that is going to give you a very nice, smooth complexion and that is going to make your makeup last. Now pick your favorite foundation and just start applying it. Usually my favorite foundations are foundations that have a medium coverage to them, that are going to cover enough, but that are also very thin, because I don't like foundation to look cakey on my skin, and because I have very dry skin, a lot of foundations tend to want to look cakey on me. So thin foundation, medium coverage is definitely usually my go-to, but just grab your favorite foundation and put it on. All right, finally covering up that burn a little bit. I should have color corrected it. The other day it wasn't that dark, so it was covered by just using foundation, but today she is visible and scabby. Ew. Anyways, the foundation is now fully applied, really nice and natural. I can still see my freckles through it, but I no longer see my redness, which is one of my main concerns, and it doesn't look cakey. Whenever I get ready for an event or an actually glamorous occasion, let's say a holiday party for example, I like to do both. I like to contour and bronze because I feel like it gives me extra layers of like shape to my face. So grab your favorite contouring product. I love to contour with cream products. I'm going to grab a cream product and I'm going to just go around my forehead with it first. I'm going to go from the top of the ear right here down towards the corner of my mouth and stop halfway, and then just blend upwards a little bit right there. And I'm going to go from the bottom of my ear to the tip of my chin, just like that. And just repeat over on this side. And then with a dense brush, I'm going to tap in that product and blend it. The trick to blending your contour is, if you already traced that line from the top of the ear to the corner of your mouth, don't blend it so that it blends it down, because then you're not going to have that definition. You gotta blend it upwards. Just go through the edge of the line and flick up the product so that it doesn't blend down. When it comes to the chin, I just like to kind of go across and then blend down. So the opposite. And for the forehead, I blend it into the hairline. Also, something I like to do as far as what I do with my brush is tap instead of swipe, because sometimes you swipe and you move things around you don't want to move, but tapping in place will blend things without moving whatever you've done underneath. When it comes to nose contour, I feel like we all do it differently depending on our nose shape. I know my nose is wider at the bottom, so I like to kind of thin it down a bit. So I start by following up the line right here. So I'm going to do that, and the same thing on the other side, adding a bit more right here at the bottom. And then I'm going to blend it with a dense small brush. So I like to work the bronzer all the way to my eyebrow and just go through what I drew right here on the sides. But like I said, I'm no expert on nose contouring. I just make mine look a bit more defined, but I can't make any miracles happen to it. I have a big nose, and that's that. Okay, that looks good for now because I'm going to fix the sides with concealer. And so here's what some light contouring can do to my face. It just gives a bit more definition. I'm going to go in with my concealer color. I like to do a lot right here on this inner part of the under eye because that's where my dark circles are the worst. I'm going to do a bit more right back here. And then I'm going to fix the sides of my nose a bit with it right here. And I'm going to, maybe I'll add a bit more right here as well. Forehead, center of the nose, and chin. And the reason you do your forehead, the center of the nose, and your chin is so that you don't just have a lighter color right underneath your eyes, but you also have that same light color in the center of the face so that you look more balanced. And I'm just going to start tapping things in. I should have cleaned out a beauty blender for this, but sometimes I just like to make myself struggle for no reason. This is one of those times. Okay, I'm just patting the concealer in place with my brush. Alright, once the concealer is blended, this is what things are looking like. Also, when it comes to concealer, I usually go for something that is very lightweight as well, so that it doesn't crease much underneath the eyes. And I'm now done with all of the liquid and cream products, and I'm going to get into powder. So first things first, we are going to set. I'm just going to grab my favorite translucent powder or under eye setting powder. Whatever you have that works for you, use your favorite powder to set your face. I usually like to go in with a fluffy brush so that it doesn't pack too much product underneath my eyes. And I'm just tapping some powder on to set everything in place. I'm going to take the powder up to my forehead as well, especially right here in the center, because I'm going to put bronzer around, which is a powder as well. So I'm just going to put my translucent powder in the center of the forehead, nose, right here next to my mouth, so that if I smile, things don't crease. So let's move on to powder bronzer, and I do have two requirements for powder bronzer because it's not the summertime and we are doing a holiday look. I wouldn't go for anything too bronzy, like nothing too golden. And I would also maybe keep it on the matte side when it comes to bronzer. Besides that, use a smaller, more defined brush rather than a bigger brush, because if you already contoured like I did, you just don't need that much product. So I'm going to start by going over the perimeters of my forehead, and then right here on my cheek, I'm going to go right over where my contour is and blend it. Notice how I'm tapping the product even though I'm using powder, because since I have creams underneath, I don't want to move those creams. I'm going to first set the creams with the powder, and then once I don't feel that there's anything sticky on my face anymore, then I can buff a little bit. Same thing over here. I am stippling my bronzer in place first, and then just buffing it ever so slightly. Just going over the nose a little bit right here. And once my powder bronzer is on, here's what things are looking like. Before I move on to lipstick or blush or any of that, I'm going to finish up my eyes. So I'm going to grab a brown eyeliner, whichever brown eyeliner you have at hand, just because it matches the brown on the outer corner of the eye. And with that eyeliner, I'm going to line my waterline. And I'm also going to go with it right in between my lower lashes. Right here. And with a small pointed pencil brush, I'm going to back and forth smudge that, just back and forth right underneath the eye. I just love how much definition that gives. Same thing over here, of course, just back and forth diffusing that eyeliner underneath the eye. And now with a thin fluffy brush, I'm going to diffuse that brown with the transition color we used on top. So whichever one was the first color you used when you started your eye look, that's the one you're going to diffuse underneath your eyes with. Lastly, go back with your inner corner color and just add a bit more right here. Now that you have concealed and you have done all of this stuff, some of it might have gone away and you just want to make sure it looks nice and bright on the inner corner. I'm going to curl my lashes next and put mascara on. So let me just be right back. Just curl your lashes, put mascara on. Once you've applied your favorite mascaras, I want to push you a little bit further with your holiday look. We want to do some falsies. And I know a lot of you struggle with falsies, but I promise you it's not that hard. You just have to have a little bit of confidence, a little bit of patience, and put them on at the exact time. So let me see if I can help you with that. One tip I have for you is to always go for the glue that goes on white and dries clear. And the reason why is because this glue has an indicator of the exact time where you have to put these lashes on. If you put glue on your lashes and immediately try to put the lashes to your face, you are not letting that glue dry. It is not tacky yet, and the lash is not going to adhere to your eye, and you're going to end up with a very big goopy mess all around, right? So the trick is to let the glue somewhat dry. Here we go. I applied a layer of glue to my lash. This one, I'm not going to say brands, but this is from the drugstore, okay? Not an expensive lash at all. And the indicator, see how that band is fully white? The indicator that the lash is drying and that it is time to put it on is when you see white, clear, white, clear, white, clear, like it dries in little dots. I'll show you when we get there. But basically, the glue starts getting clear, and that's when you know it's time to put it on. So I'm going to fan my lash a little bit. I'm trying to talk as much as possible while this process is going on so that you see that it takes a little bit of time, you know? So we're drying the glue. See how now it has some clear parts to it? It's not white all the way across. That means it's time to put it on your eyeballs. So grab your mirror, get very close, slowly put it right on top of the center of the eye here. Then secure your inner corner and then secure your outer corner. And you don't have to have a lash applicator for this. Tweezers will do. And then the next trick is simply to press your natural lash in with the falsie so that they blend very nicely and you can't tell what is what, you know? And did you see how the lash immediately stuck to my eyelid? Is because we let the glue get tacky. That is the whole trick to putting lashes on. Just let the glue get tacky. Let's do it again for this eye. Just look at the difference that lashes make. This is going to look so much better in pictures, and for like a holiday party or any other glamorous event, I feel like lashes are definitely a must. They just elevate your makeup look to a whole nother level, you know? And so once the lashes are applied, this right here is the final eyeshadow look. Now let's move on to lipstick. And the last thing I usually do is my blush and highlighter because I want to see like the type of contrast my eyeshadow does with whatever lipstick color I choose in order to choose the right blush color for me. So for lipstick, because we did a more neutral eye, we are going to go for a fun red holiday lip. For red lipstick, I always like to use a lip liner. I mean, at this point, for any lipstick, I always like to use lip liner, but specifically for darker, deeper colors, because it'll give you a bit more security in what you're doing once it's time to apply the lipstick. So first we line, and once you've lined your lips, I like to do a thick line. As you can see, just grab your favorite red lipstick. Oh my God. Sorry, my lip liner was all smudged. I'm glad I noticed that before I put it all over my clothes. Okay. Grab your favorite red lipstick and go for it. And I do like to make sure to put the lipstick all over where the lip liner was as well. Like I try to get to all the edges so that if there's a difference in the undertone of the lip liner versus the lipstick, they merge really nicely. So this right here is what things are looking like right now. And because the lipstick is so bold and the eyeshadow is more neutral, but also kind of on the glamorous bold for neutral type of a side, I don't want to use a ton of blush. In fact, I could totally go without any blush at all whatsoever for this eyeshadow look, but I do want to do a little something just for a little extra color. Now, I don't want to go for any pink or peach blush shade. I want it to be very, very neutral. So I'm going to grab a neutral shade, and I think if you do a similar eye to what I did, you should grab a neutral shade of blush as well and go on with that one. I'm just going to tap the top of my cheekbones here, just back and forth, add some of that blush in place. See, this gives me a bit of color, it's a bit of blushiness, but it's not contrasting with the lip or the eye look. Now for highlighter, I'm going to go for something that's a very light champagne color. I don't want my highlighter to have a pink undertone or a gold undertone. I want to kind of just stay right in the middle. And I'm just going to tap it on with my finger here because I'm using a liquid. If you are not using a liquid, just put it on however you usually do. But I'm just very lightly blending it in with my finger. Sometimes less is more, and I feel like this is one of those cases because I've already done so much. I definitely don't want my highlighter to be the center of attention or steal the show. I want my eyes and my lips to do that instead, you know? A little bit of setting spray. We definitely want this to last forever. Just fix your hair however you would for an event. I'm just doing a very lazy version of a half up, half down type of situation here. And this is how I burned my forehead the other day, so I'm going to skip that piece. So once you fix up your hair a little bit, this right here is our final holiday look. I definitely love the sparkles on the eyes. I love me a neutral to cool tone smoky eye. I think it pairs so well with a fun holiday red lipstick. And I'm honestly in love with this makeup look. I loved it the other day when I did it. So when I saw interest in the comments, I'm like, that's going to be our Christmas look this year. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up before you leave. Let me know if you like this no brand makeup tutorial. Let me know if you're going to recreate it. If you do, don't forget to please tag me on your Instagram because I would love to see your holiday looks. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe before you leave. And that is all I have for today's video. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you back in the next one. Bye.